betarabuna nina kuna haleluya haleluya le Yeshua aizo sika kenisa de betarabuna nina kuna haleluya haleluya le Yeshua watasaba hasa biga saa 6 akugum yake ya rafi kenisa arabe na kana kishima mama kamisa bella felista 247 I'll bless you Jehovah every day I wanna be in your altar playing sweet melody from my guitar all the time afitani is a eater my controller my sustainer your love is so sweet a cappella aizo siga kenisa de betarabuna nina kuna haleluya haleluya le Yeshua aizo siga kenisa de betarabuna nina kuna haleluya haleluya le Yeshua bang 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 de au sota lugara de inat fogo betarabuna kelina ruwa abudu wa sabihu rabuna ben lugara wa beguna kulu hajal bisibu ana mabiguna le rabuna fire kulu hajal bisibu ana mabi abudu rabuna fire kulu hajal bisibu ana mabi sabihu rabuna fire kulu hajal bisibu ana mabi tekile rabuna fire ay rabuna ya kifaya vichwa beta rabuna fi barakat kifaya ay so siga kenisa de beta rabuna nina kuna haleluya haleluya le Yeshua ay so siga kenisa de beta rabuna nina kuna haleluya haleluya le Yeshua
hats, towels in the necks, so because I think will be tough.
Yeah, I quite like bring hats, towels, and a lot of water. We're into that in mind of next year. Exact same place, the US and the World Cup for real.
Yeah, absolutely. Like those two tennis players who played in France for 5.5 hours.
Yeah.
It's the reality of.
Well, they get a break every couple,
but they're still playing at an intensity, and they're still playing for 5.5 hours in baking heat, and they do it all around the world. And most of these tennis sports, for example, are played in hot weather. I understand that they're not running around tackling one another, but they're still running around at a velocity that most athletes would look at and go, "How do you do that for 5.5 hours?"
Yeah.
It is what it is. Of course, that the South American teams will be more acclimatized to it. If two European teams are playing against one another, then you get on with it, don't you? Man City are playing Juventus. They're both Europeans. Okay, that part of the world will sometimes have better climates than perhaps we've got in Manchester. But notwithstanding that, you've got plenty of substitutions. It levels out, and the players have to get on with it. And it isn't ideal, and it slows the game down. And the next World Club Championships may be in an environment that these outcomes. But I think these big tag for towns bring you water. But 40-year-old guys sitting in the stadium watching a football match are not highly trained, highly resourced athletes that are built for these things. Will be managed in such a way, hydrated in such a way, and the tempo of the game is the argument about how maybe the game suffers a little bit because of the fact that players cannot operate at that level with that level of heat.
Yeah.
And when we've done the tournament and we've done the rounds and we look at the quality of it and see how many goals are scored and see what the outcomes of it were once we get into the business of end of it, then we'll evaluate it full stop. We've seen Mexico 86, we've seen Spain 82, we saw Brazil 1970 for World Cup competitions, and all of those were played in heat. Argentina 78. So, you know,
yeah. Thankfully, it was a Winter World Cup when we were in Qatar.
In Qatar, yeah. Absolutely. And I worry that the scheduling of this tournament should have been slightly better, which means that more games could have been played at times that were more commensurate or akin with the weather condition that was probably more palatable. I was over Miami last summer, heat. And then I saw the fixture in the evening when Inter Miami played St. Louis, and the heat was manageable. But during the day, it was unbearable walking around in, let alone running around and competing against other, high octane athletes.
I want to just lean towards you for a prediction then tonight, because you're so good in this area. Juventus, Manchester City. I think City win it. Go on.
Well, whatever prediction I do turns out to be wrong. And some of them I do it because it's what I want rather than what I think is going to happen.
Oh, I want Manchester City.
Of course I want Manchester City because the English team.
Yeah.
So, I would pick Manchester City over Juventus.
Yeah, me too. I think Manchester City are going to win it 3-2. How about that? That was a look at the FIFA Club World Cup with DAZN. Watch every game of the FIFA Club World Cup live and for free with DAZN. Sign up at DAZN.com.
FIFA Club World Cup Roundup on TalkSport, presented by DAZN. Sign up now at DAZN.com to watch every game live and for free.
Biala, Kemeji Towo, one day my heart, Shedera Biala, do you be good? Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hey, hey, my
Do something, man. Do something.
Spencer Oliver has rejigged his very, very busy personal diary and is in here because, Spence, as you know, we're waiting for the EFL fixtures to come out. They will come out, and we'll bring the top ones to the list of 5. Although I understand, I'm reliably informed that you thought it was the NFL fixtures that were coming out.
I did, Jim, and you know, juggling that 15 minutes around has been difficult in my day. To be fair, you know, 12 o'clock. I'm regimental in our movement, so getting here was difficult.
We believe we had to tease you out of Sainsbury's round the corner, not a bit earlier than we normally would. Spencer, it's good to have you on board. So much to get through. I don't really know where to start. All good relationships find their natural endpoint, do they not? And I know you've been in conversation with Simon in Top Boxing on this, but why?
You know, he's become 2 undisputed champion in 2 different weight categories. They've had a great relationship. And when you see them on the surface of it all seems fine. So look, we don't know the ins and outs a bit why they've split. Will that have an effect? I don't think so. I don't think it's not going to hamper the preparations of Alexander Usyk in any way, shape or form. But it is very strange that they've split.
What do you read into it, Simon?
I go with Spencer. I mean, when Alexander was in here, he was in with Aegis Klimas, wasn't he? He wasn't in with Krisiak.
Yeah.
And we were going to do something with Krisiak, and he couldn't do it then at that time. And that all seemed a bit strange because it was arranged to have Alex do something, wasn't it? It feels to me like it's a strange time to do something. You wouldn't, you can understand if there's a lull between fights, and ultimately the fight gets won, the fight gets lost, and there's a change of relationships. But leading up to the fights, it seems like a strange thing to have done. You know, I suppose you're always leading up to a fight, but we're right on the cusp of a fight now, 2 or 3 weeks away from a major fight.
Yeah.
And it would have been the logical time from a point of view of not understanding the mechanics of why they've done it, to go, well, surely this fight gets finished, and then bang, at the end of this fight, outcome is whatever it is. Thank you. We're going our different ways. Now, of course, Alexander Usyk may simply be the beneficiary of some additional revenue from this because he doesn't have to pay his manager the commission fees that he'll be getting from it. Do I think it affects the outcome? No. But any distraction in a boxer's life can't be helpful. We heard the other day from Ben Davidson talking about the fact that Anthony Joshua was knocked out of his rhythm potentially without attributing the blame to the loss of Daniel Dubois by the fact he was very late to the arena. losing somebody from an entourage, and boxers have entourage that keep their minds focused, keep them relaxed, keep them in the same space. Having somebody come out might be a distraction, and it might not be. But we're talking about somebody like Usyk, who to me is zeroed in on what he does. And I think
no matter what,
if it were anyone else, I think there might be a distraction. But Usyk, I don't think so.
It was interesting though, Spencer. We went to Team Usyk, and they gave us an exclusive statement. Sergei Lapin, the head of Team Usyk, and in that statement, there's a standout few words. Usyk reached a point where it was time to build something of his own.
Yeah.
What is that?
Well, I think he's at the stage of his career where they're saying that they feel now that they can do things on their own. He's got that power, you know. He's built, you know, he's built his what's the word that I'm looking for? He's built that team, and he feels that now the promoter is not needed at this stage of his career. Look, we're talking about Alexander Usyk here, and it'd be fair to say this could be his last fight. He may have one other fight after that.
Do you get the width of economics about this, Spence? Because if indeed you're at a stage now where you are a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? You don't really need a promoter. You know, the promoter isn't putting this event together to some extent. Of course, the logistics of it are, and of course, they're valuable in the equation. But when you're Alexander Usyk and you look around and you know your own mind, and you've seen the fellow in the studio, this man is not a fool. He's perfectly capable of operating at this stage in his life. So if he's sitting there going, I'm paying 15% of a 50, 60, 70, 80 million pound purse for things I could do myself, it feels to me that there might be some of that in the mix.
I totally agree. Listen, look, when you look for it and you go through the layers of it all, and you try and understand it all, and they've been together and they've got a great friendship as well. It can only come down to that, the business side of things. And what Alexander Usyk now looking at it saying, look, I've only got a couple of fights left, and maybe Alex Krasiuk has run its course, and we don't need to do that now. You know, I can do these things on my own, and because of that, you know, the financial reward and loss in all of this, he goes, well, we may as well do it without Krasiuk. I mean, but we're talking about a word called loyalty as well, and that comes into play as well when you look at it and you say, well, is there more than that? Because
they've always seemed to have
a great friendship, Jim. I must say that. You know, these guys are a tight-knit team. So that's why it's more of a surprise to me than anyone else. If I'd heard it, everyone else in any camp, I would sort of understand it more. It'd be down to the business
Lewis
side.
Simon up in Falkirk in Scotland. Maybe Usyk's manager didn't want him to take the fight. Maybe they've had a fallout about it.
Yeah, it's interesting. A promoter with a conscience. I wouldn't want you to go into a fight that you're perfectly capable of going into. You're comfortable yourself, and I wouldn't want to get paid for that. So I'm more worried about. There may be that, but you know, he knows his sport better than everybody. The fact of the matter is, people stuck Muhammad Ali into rings in the 80s when he should have never been there. We're seeing fighters get put into fights all the time. The row about what promoters do and don't do. He may be the one. He may be the one promoter of all the promoters that, above all, is more concerned about the well-being of the fighters than himself.
There's no cause to be concerned about the well-being of a fighter like Alexander Usyk because he's shown no signs of deterioration. He's beat Daniel Dubois already, and he's going over old ground. So that wouldn't fit at all.
That's right.
Okay,
absolutely right.
Spencer's with us. Having said that, EFL fans, be on standby because the fixtures for the upcoming season drop in the next few moments. We'll get Sam Matterface to join us and we'll get reaction to them. Who is your club going to get on day one and onwards? Stay with us. It's Spencer alongside Simon himself, live on TalkSport with Selco, where the trade goes. Just gone 12 noon this Thursday lunchtime. Is Jim White, is Simon Jordan, and it is Spencer Oliver. And we shall return to matters in the world of boxing very shortly. But in the last few moments, the EFL fixtures for the upcoming season have been released. And as you know by now, of course you do, TalkSport is the home of the EFL. And we have more live football on national radio than ever before. Let's hear about it right now.
The EFL is back on the TalkSport network. It's bigger and better than ever before.
Back to Ayu, hits it well. 2-0 to Leicester City. Archer goes for goal. He scored. Cameron Archer gives Southampton an unlikely lead.
Into the far post, it's headed down and into the net. Brilliant header by George Hurt. He celebrates wildly in front of the Ipswich fans.
Gotta love the EFL. And for the first time since 1982, Wrexham are into the Championship.
Birmingham City have been promoted to the Championship for the first time of asking. Davies starting his way through, gets the shot away, and Tom Davies has scored for Sheffield United.
And White with the cross right there to attack, and it's in. And Coventry have the goal that their efforts deserve.
What brilliant entertainment here on your home of the EFL, the TalkSport Network.
So now we know who plays who from Friday, the 8th of August and onwards. I'm delighted. My colleague here at TalkSport, one-time Sky colleague, of course, Sam Matterface joins us live. Sam, good afternoon. What catches the eye?
Very good afternoon to you, Jim. Yes, the EFL gets underway actually in just 36 days with League One and League Two starting on the first weekend of August, followed by a week later those championship fixtures that you were referring to. Luton and Wimbledon kicking off the new EFL season. 8 o'clock, TalkSport 2, the first weekend of the campaign. The same weekend will bring you Cardiff, Peterborough and Stockport Bolton on the home of the EFL. But the first championship game of the brand new season, Friday, the 8th of August, live on TalkSport, newly promoted Birmingham at St Andrews take on relegated Ipswich Town live on TalkSport as we broadcast over 140 games from the EFL this season as we bring you more games than ever before. And it's a fascinating first weekend of the season, Jim. Leicester versus Sheffield Wednesday is the big 4:30 game on Sunday afternoon. We'll have that one for you as well. Southampton are in the lunchtime slot. Also on the Saturday, they welcome Wrexham, newly promoted Wrexham in the Championship for the first time since 1982. Both those games will be on the network with Southampton Wrexham on TalkSport 12:30 on the first Saturday of the season. Just to mark your card, a couple of the big derbies that really have caught the eye already. We don't have to wait too long before we see our first South Coast derby of the season. You know, I'm particularly interested in that. Southampton against Portsmouth, September the 13th, the weekend of September the 13th. A tasty one for Will Still, who's got a tough start to life at St Mary's with Wrexham, Ipswich, Pompey, and then Middlesbrough and Sheffield United to come straight off the bat. November is the first time we see the first Steel City derby at Hillsborough, who's going to be in charge by then, with the return at Bramall Lane in February. Ipswich face Norwich in the Old Farm game. That's October the 4th. So lots of exciting fixtures to come.
Very good. Sam, thank you for that. Stay with us. I'm interested, Simon, in your thoughts on the three relegated teams, Leicester, Southampton, and Ipswich. We're going to be hearing from Mark Ashton, who I know, the chief exec of Ipswich later on. But how do you think they're going to get going in that one? Because, I mean, it's a brutal division.
Well, they've been there before, and so they know what they're going into. They went through it pretty quickly first time round, didn't they? They've retained their manager, and I think being down there, myself and Spencer were down there for the boxing. You could see the reaction from the Ipswich fans towards Kieran McKenna. He's still hero worshipped.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've lost Liam Delap, but they're in good shape. They've got a good chairman in Mark Ashton. He came in the studio, didn't he, in January, talking about the fact they've got themselves funded. I mean, it's an interesting one. They've gone for the Hollywood setup, with Birmingham coming up because all the furore around Tom Brady and the fact that they spent a lot of money in the League One last year. It's a good yardstick. It's a good citer for Birmingham. But of the relegated sides, you'd think that Ipswich probably in the best situation. Southampton were dreadful last season and don't go down with any credit. I mean, none of them really go down with much credit, but Ipswich went down with the most credit.
Yeah.
Leicester, seem to be all over the place with PSR, and they've got a manager they're likely to get rid of, and they're doing it in a way that ultimately enables them to take the cost implications of it and dump it into next year's PSR, because that's how Leicester do. They tap dance around everything at this moment in time. So I would think that it's really, I mean, obviously, having been relegated, you want the team to start as it means to go on, and getting a start.
Exactly.
It's important.
Yeah.
It's not fundamentally the defining aspect.
Yeah.
But Ipswich versus Birmingham, first game of the season, it's a great game for the league. I mean, the thing about the EFL fixtures every year they came out with me was that I'm playing against all the teams I don't want to play against.
But if you're Ipswich and if you're Southampton, Simon, do you want the new boys? Do you want Wrexham at St Andrews?
You don't care. You take them.
Do you want Ipswich at Birmingham?
You take them as you come. I remember going into the dressing room after we got beaten on the last game of the season, got relegated with 3 minutes to go, and said to the players after the game, "Listen, how does it feel? Crap? Does it feel crap? Whoever's in this dressing room, Victor, whatever else. Here's the thing: we take it out on the side that plays us first game of the season. The first game of the season was a newly promoted Luton at home. We lost 3-1. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's about what the players think and what they're prepared for. You play against the opposition you play against.
Sam, any headline you want to throw as regards Leagues 1 and 2?
Well, I think before we get to that, let's just talk a little bit about Leicester and Ipswich, because Simon's right. The Championship is so tricky. You never really know what you're going to get week to week, let alone when it comes to the first game of the season. I don't think I'd really want to be going to St Andrews opening night under the lights after Birmingham have just been promoted, and with all of the backing that they've had in the last few years. I think that interestingly for Ipswich, they then have a game very quickly against Derby County, one against Southampton in the next couple of weeks as well, which is, I suppose, a yardstick of where they will be. They'll be able to measure themselves against Southampton. Leicester, we already mentioned, likely to be under new management. We don't even know what's happening there at the moment. They start at home, then 2 tricky away games at Preston, and newly promoted Charlton, who are back in the Championship. They look like they've got a tough Christmas and New Year period. Sheffield United, now with Ruben Selles in charge instead of Chris Wilder, they start with a home game against Bristol City. They've got Gerhard Struber in place now. Then the Blades go to Swansea under Alan Sheehan. So many new managers in the Championship this season. Coventry, big season for Frank Lampard. Coventry have gone really close last season. Doug King's investment, Frank Lampard's astute management. They start at home with a match against another team with a new manager in Hull City. Sergei Yakirovich is in charge there now. Middlesbrough have got Rob Edwards, obviously, and they're alone in the northeast now. The nearest rival is probably Hull City. He starts, Rob Edwards, with Swansea and Millwall, and he faces a trip to his old club, Watford, in November. Ryan Mason is in at West Brom. They start the season at home to Blackburn. But they look as if they've got a particularly tough end to the campaign to me. As we know, there'll be a lot of fixture changes because of TV scheduling. The good news for EFL fans, though, and I like this, is that by Thursday, July the 3rd, we'll know all of the fixtures up until the end of September. And then before the season starts, we'll have all of the broadcast selections up until January the 10th, which I think is great news for supporters trying to plan their weekends. You mentioned League 1 and 2. Tom Cleverley in at Plymouth. Lee Grant in at Huddersfield. Plymouth at home to Barnsley on the opening weekend. Huddersfield at home to Orient. Oldham back in the in the Premier League for the first time after promotion from the National League. 34 years since their last promotion. They're away at MK Dons, that they finished the season with a big home match against Accrington Stanley. And Barnet back in the Football League for the first time since 2018. They start with a home game against Fleetwood.
Sam, terrific stuff. Before you leave us, Sam, stay with us because news is coming in to me. Liverpool fans will be interested in this. Liverpool, Simon, have completed the signing of Milos Kerkez from Bournemouth, 40 million quid. Their fourth signing of the summer. So Liverpool, busy all the time, right up until the start of the season, it looks.
Filled from positions of strength. And that's why the argument about Harvey Elliott becomes relevant when we talk about his future. He played 18 games under Klopp last year, and the previous 3 seasons has been playing 30 games a year under Klopp. So there's been some changes. Here is a player coming in to either push Andy Robertson out or push him to new levels.
Yeah. Sam, let me throw this at you. This probably is like a new signing for Arsenal. Arsenal fans, bit of news for you this lunchtime. Miles Lewis-Skelly has signed a new deal which keeps him at the club until 2030, Sam. Miles Lewis-Skelly, debut season.
Just looking at that, he had a brilliant season, didn't he? And just noticed that has dropped in the last couple of minutes on the Arsenal website as well. They're just saying now that he has signed a new contract, which is brilliant for him and brilliant for Arsenal, really, as well. Howling graduate, now an England international, scored on his debut. The 18-year-old definitely enjoying a breakthrough season last campaign. He joined the club as an 8-year-old, went on to play an instrumental role in each of the age group teams. He rose to prominence during the 2022-23 season when he scored a late winner for the under-18s in a memorable FA Youth Cup semi-final against Manchester City. And then 6 months later, he's signing a new professional contract, just turning 17, and he ends up making 39 first-team appearances in all competitions after making his debut in that 2-2 draw against Manchester City. No doubt that 2024-25 was a breakthrough season for Miles Lewis-Skelly, and I think, Arsenal fans will be absolutely delighted that he's committed his future to the club because he's a terrific prospect. He's played really well both for club and international teams over the course of the last year. And it's one of the success stories, another of the success stories from the Howland Academy.
Sam, thank you very much indeed. Best in the business, Sam Matterpiece. As you know by now, TalkSport, the home of the EFL, and we have more live football on national radio than ever before. The EFL fixtures released this lunchtime, back with boxing, and Spencer Oliver has been sitting very quietly and listening to all the EFL news. You happy you now know who plays who in the opening day?
Oh, very happy.
Yeah. Spencer, thank you for that for that short but quite direct answer.
That's about as much as I could give you if I'm totally honest with you.
Here's one for you as we head towards the break, Spence. After a year away from the ring, Deontay Wilder back tomorrow night to face Tyrrell Herndon in Kansas. I've been to Kansas. What's your take on that? Is this an easy one for Wilder's return?
It should be an easy one for Wilder's return. Tyrrell Herndon lost in 2023 to Richard Torres Jr., who was a 6-0 prospect coming through, and he was taken apart in a couple of rounds. So really, Deontay Wilder should be doing a job if he's got anything left. Has he got anything left? We haven't seen any evidence of that recently. I mean, you look at the fight against Yele Zhang, and he looked a shell of his former self. Against Joseph Parker, he did as well. So I'm not sure how he's going to rewind the clock, but if he does and he wins, he puts himself back in the mix.
Do you think Wilder can find relevance again, Simon?
Well, it's difficult. I mean, again, Spencer can comment on it more, but once the fight appears to have left you, I should imagine it's very difficult to get it back in again. And what we saw was a person that was amputated from his spirit in terms of the fighter that we saw once before. The Fury fights had obviously taken their toll. And what we saw in the Joseph Parker fight, which Joseph rebuilt his reputation on, was there wasn't the Deontay Wilder that we once knew. And it was even worse against Yele Zhang, wasn't it?
It certainly was. Yeah, it certainly was.
So it appears even I would have a chance against Tyrrell Herndon, whether it's in Kansas or not, although I'm not so sure about that. Good luck to Deontay tomorrow. When is it? A year away? Yeah, tomorrow night. Wilder back in the ring, and we'll see how he does. A lot to get through between now and 1 o'clock with Spencer Oliver, who joins us live on the show this lunchtime. Now that the EFL fixtures are released, and we know all about them. Thanks to Sam Matterpiece for joining us. We're live in TalkSport with Selco, where the trade goes. Now then, the reunion of the century starts next week. We're giving you the chance to win a pair of Oasis tickets in Manchester, July 19. Oasis Live 25 sold out, but we can get you in. Alongside the tickets, you'll be in a nice hotel, you've got $5,000 in your back pocket, and it's completely tax-free. Listen up, this is what you need to know.
Alright, kid. You have to be over 18 to enter in the UK, excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win a pair of tickets to the most electrifying rock and roll reunion of the century, a hotel stay, and $5,000 spending money, all you got to do is text the word Oasis to 83338 by Monday the 7th of July at 11 p.m. and you'll be entered into the draw to go supersonic this summer. Sorted. Right, here's all the legal stuff. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. You've got to have the bill payer's permission or post your name and number to Oasis Prize Draw, PO Box 319. Colchester CO2 8GP to arrive by 5 p.m. on the 10th of July. This is a TalkSport limited promotion run on TalkSport, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full T's and C's at talksport.com.
Yes, indeed. Moments ago, we brought you the opening day's fixtures from the EFL. And as far as the championship is concerned, it all gets underway on Friday, August the 8th. Birmingham City, the new boys, Tom Brady and all, up against Ipswich Town. That is on TalkSport at 8 o'clock on that evening, Friday, August the 8th. And funnily enough, we'll finish today in the company of the Ib, who will be joining us live. Joining us live at the moment is Spencer Oliver, because we are talking boxing. And Spence, we're 1 week out from the all-British bout between Harlem Eubank and Jack Catterall. That one takes place at Manchester's AO Arena next weekend. I'm delighted to say Harlem Eubank's promoter, Calla Sutherland, joins us live on the show. Calla, good afternoon to you.
Gentlemen, how are you? How are you, Jim? How are you?
Very good, thank you. We see if we're watching live on YouTube or your smart TV, you can see Calla sitting in his very smart car talking to us live this lunchtime. So how's your man? How's Harlem?
He's doing well. He's waiting for this moment. You know, he's been patient. He's done it the traditional way. Spencer will know all about that. Little increases in fight levels. He's had fantastic viewing numbers on Channel 5 in the process. So he's had a great build up in terms of publicity. But now's the time. This is the moment where we'll find out, is he ready for the world level? Jack Cattrall, real gentleman, credit to the sport, fantastic operator, absolute world class. And this is what it is. Next weekend, Manchester, live on DAZN. Very, very, very excited for it.
Yeah, Calla, it is all about timing, isn't it? And Harlem Eubank has been a professional now since 2017, and it would have been easy with the Eubank name to let him go and build him faster. But you've taken that slow, steady approach, haven't you? Tyrone McKenna last time out was a great win. He won that inside 10 rounds, and you now feel that this is the time because Cattrall is a serious operator. Only just lost to Arnold Barboza last time out. That was, debatable whether he did lose even. So he's at that level still, and this is a massive jump up for Harlem Eubank.
Yeah, I mean, Spencer, look, you've known me a couple of decades, yeah. So you know my philosophy on the sport, and it's when you take a young fighter, you need to go through those levels. You go through. Of course, you've got to be ready for especially at the moment, some of the wild purses being thrown around. It's making a living, no doubt about it. But if you're going the traditional way, it's about that moment. And Spencer, you would have had it. That moment where you have to test it. You have to test what your belief is, And I think the big advantage, people keep saying, what's the advantage that Harlem Eubank has? Yes, it's the speed. Yes, it's the less miles on the clock. But yes, it's also that nobody knows how he's going to adapt at the big stage. He's got the big name, no doubt about it. He's had fantastic viewership on Channel 5. That all goes out the window when the bell rings. So it's really, I mean, for people who's followed his journey, fascinating. It's obviously another page or chapter in the Eubank legacy in the sport, especially in the UK. But it is, forget all that. This is the moment. All those blood, sweat, and tears in the gym. Next Saturday night in Manchester, it will be the moment we find out what it's all about.
Funnily enough, Harlem Eubank joined us on the show last week, and he spoke about the opportunities that may open up for him if he can overcome Jack Cattrall.
Yeah, I think it just takes these big fights, these big occasions, and the type of performances that I've been putting in, and people are starting to distinguish them performances, and it takes time. It's a big it's big footsteps to follow. It was for Chris Eubank Jr.
Yeah,
with everything that Senior achieved in the sport, and now I've got both of them at the very pinnacle, of the sport, and it's great to have them there. That the name is being held very, very high right now in boxing, and I'm ready to go in that world level against a top operating Cattrall and prove that I'm ready to fight at the top of the sport.
Spencer, what do you think having the Eubank name, has that helped or hindered him?
Well, listen, having the Eubank name can help or hinder him, but I think they've done it the right way. They've taken the slow approach and let him learn his trade, and he's improved as a fighter. When you see him now, he's 21 fights in, 9 of those inside the distance, turned pro in 2017, and it's been a slower progress for him. And now Chris Eubank Jr., Senior, obviously a big part of that stable as well now, and the guidance, and they feel that the timing's right. And I think that it's a question for Calla, really. Calla, what have you seen in Harlem to say right now is the time? Because he has been a work in progress, and you look at it now, and you guys will know better than anyone. You're great at directing careers and taking the right step at the right time. Why now? What have you seen that is different to what he's been doing before?
It's I guess it's the $1 billion question always. Yeah, I counted recently 47 world champions, and I think 80% of those I've taken from their first pro contract over the last 3 decades. It's a gut feeling. I don't know, the gods decide. You get that moment, look. Yeah, it's a good payday. It's not life. It's not gonna. This is not retirement money. So this is, yes, it's a money fight. It's a big fight, big arena, big platform on DAZN. But at the same time, it's about testing it. And you know, you come to that stage, and again, I think the answer is he's stepped up little levels, and now it's time. We felt it was the right fight. We were ready to roll with Azim as well last year. And we shall find out. It's not, you know, I can make the big promoter talk here. You know, I can say, look, this is the next Eubank, blah, blah, blah. But really, it's about next weekend, and it's about his performance. After that, boot tennis, it's a great division. It puts him right up there. You know, you've got obviously Conor Benn, more or less his natural weight after the couple of Eubank fights. But one thing just on the Eubank name, this is Mr. Humble, yeah? This is, he's got a lot of similarities with the other Eubanks, but he is, and I've worked, as we all know, very closely with the Eubank family since a long time. I had some great times with Junior, great times, and wish him all the best. But at the same time, this is, you know, to work with Harlem, he's so humble, and he listens, and he really, you know, to learn, you know, to listen is to learn, you know, and especially in our sport. You know, Spencer, you became a champion. Why did you become a champion? Because you listened. And that's, you know, with Harlem, it's a joy to work with him, because he really listened. He said, "Oh, that fight, you know, that's the right time."
Well,
and,
talking of listening, Caleb, Simon's been listening very closely to you. Simon, do you like what you've seen so far in Harlem Eubank?
I haven't seen enough to be able to give an honest opinion. My interest in this fight is the curiosity about Jack Catterall and his motivations. Jack Catterall should be an undisputed champion. Obviously, that's a well-rehearsed path. His most recent fight against Barbosa was a loss, having beat Jorge Linares, having beat Regis Prograis. And I'm interested in my feel for Jack Catterall going up a weight class on the back of a defeat to Arnold Barbosa. Is it the right time for Harlem to be fighting the name of Jack Catterall alongside the fighter in himself?
Yeah.
And the impression I got from Sam was that the reasons why they took this fight is because of the Eubank name and some economics attached to it. It's why I was interested to hear Callie saying this is not a game-changing amount of money in this fight, because you would have felt that Jack Catterall would be looking at this fight in a certain way.
But I feel that the risk versus reward for Jack Catterall is not really there, because he's the one that's stepping up in weight against the Harlem Eubank, who's sort of gone under the radar a little bit to, let's say, his cousin Chris Eubank Jr., but now is the timing for him. So when you weigh it all up, I think from Call's side, I think it's a genius move, because Harlem Eubank comes up against a recognised name in Catterall, who's moving up, it's a sort of
He loses what it does for his career.
Yeah.
Jack then comes up, loses against a Eubank name, but not anyone reputed at this moment